Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette. Joining me today is Alexi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast today. I appreciate you coming here.
Oh, well, my pleasure just to share and enlighten people.
Yes, yes. So, Alexi, where about are you?
I'm just north of Toronto
Oh,
in a
okay,
small
okay.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Calgary.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Alexi, what is your story and how have you been impacting this amazing world we live in?
Well, more than 25 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And as I hung up the phone, I remember it vividly. I knew I was going to beat it. How? I had no idea, but I had a strong mindset and resilience that I was going to do just what I said I did. And so, without medical intervention, some lifestyle changes, I was cancer free in a year's time.
Mhm.
And so then I proceeded to learn more about cancer, healing, nutrition, diet. I was totally green in the area. I was a chef at the time. And so I
Mhm.
just switched to a plant-based chef, well, actually raw food chef at the time. It was a really hot movement. And so I helped people over the years with their on their healing journey, focusing a lot on diet and home toxins. And now, of course, the big problem is microplastics. And then an unfortunate accident ended my career as a chef. And so then I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And so it really impacted uh, my income. And so I ended up being homeless for a year. I moved 6 times. So again, resilience came into play. And resilience is the tool that everybody needs. It's the superpower for our generation right now because everybody's going through some kind of loss, some kind of grief, some kind of trauma, and we need resilience skills. We don't want to resort to alcohol or drugs or whatever. And so what I do now is I'm empower women diagnosed with cancer to optimize their resilience skills and make some lifestyle changes
Mhm.
so they feel comfortable that they will survive and thrive, but not limited to women because, like I said, everybody needs resilience skills. Whether you lost a loved one, an unexpected death, a suicide, putting an aging parent in a nursing home, a divorce. We all need skills, so that's what I'm all about. But being a happy for no reason trainer, I add a little joy to the equation because everybody needs a little bit of a pick-me-up. So I approach strangers at the dog park, grocery store, ATM machine, and I share a joke. Why? For that very reason I just mentioned. And so it lowers cortisol, raises serotonin and dopamine, and laughter's been shown to promote longevity. So basically, that's what I'm all about.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. I love that you approach people and tell them joke. That's really, really cool. I think since COVID started, people are traumatized.
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
mean, our world is very different than it was 4 years ago.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. And thank you for sharing your journey of overcoming and fighting the battle against cancer. I've had many family members that passed from cancer, and
Hmm.
I'm just honored to be talking to you. I'm excited to hear more of your journey. So when did you notice that you were feeling sick, and how did the diagnosis came about? Was it different doctors that you saw? How did it all
No,
come
it
out?
was it was basically just a pap smear, and it was abnormal. And so they did what do you call it? Took a smear and diagnosed it as cancer. But once I got the phone call, I never went back to the doctor. I was going to do it on my own because I'm a big supporter of holistic. Not everybody is, but that's just me. And so a lot of research. I did lifestyle changes, like I said, mentally, emotionally, and physically, from diet to, got rid of cleaning products, toiletries, did some emotional work, some forgiveness, and just had a very positive attitude, because like the saying goes, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. So I was determined, so I don't say I beat cancer. I say I'm a victor.
Mm, I love that. I love that so much. Wow. Thank you for sharing. Um, was there some spirituality aspects that helped you get through? Because I know you
Well,
mentioned holistic.
I used Mary Ann Williamson's Return to Love.
Mm.
um, because, on the frequency scale, love, happiness, joy are right up there at 600 or 700, whereas anger, illness, disease,
Yeah,
the negative emotions are down at 300 or 400. So you want to vibrate at the higher frequency, and you do that by being positive, optimistic, caring, loving, showing kindness, showing gratitude, in spite of what you may be going through. Like, for example, Christopher Reeves said the happiest days of his life were his last 3 months, because of his spinal cord research. He was able to impact so many people's lives. So it wasn't being Mr. Superman or the equestrian, it was how he helped people. So, I'm on the same school of thought that, I just want to help people, see a different way, um, and just enjoy life, and, show gratitude, show kindness, show love,
yeah,
and we can all do it collectively.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing. Can you talk to us more about trauma, loss, and grief?
Well, it impacts you emotionally, definitely, and like I said, on the energy frequency scale.
Mhm.
But there's always something positive to learn from it. Unfortunately, you don't always see it initially. You may have to go through that to get to the other side, and then hopefully, you will either, if you don't know how to do it, get help, people to help you, identify the trauma and what you can do for it. And there's a lot of research and studies out there from Dr. Mattei, Gabriel Mattei, and other well-respected individuals, because we all suffer some kind of trauma when we were children. It doesn't have to be something really dramatic, but it could be a comment, or not the care, not the support that we were looking for, the criticism. Um, and we just learn to live with it, and it affects us in other areas of our life. And so it's really important to identify what it is, so we can go on to clear that, and overcome those limiting beliefs, those limiting um, things in your life that are holding you back, because you don't feel you're worthy, or you don't deserve it, or who am I to, share my knowledge. So, you know, it's really important. Everybody has suffered some kind of loss or trauma, and just, wake up, and there is a better way. You don't have to live and suffer in silence. You can get help, reach out to support groups, whether professionals or individuals, and there's nothing wrong with praying and ask for guidance.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for sharing. Would you say that most of our diseases, are those rooted in childhood trauma and pain? What are your thoughts?
There's a very strong link to that. I don't know enough about it to comment, but it's that negativity that you hold in your body that is an invitation for disease or misalignment, or your body not functioning at an optimum level. And so, we're all guilty of that to some degree. And it's just, it comes down to your self-worth. Am I worthy of a better life? Am I worthy of health? Am I worthy of good relationships? Whatever. So, another way of looking at it is, what am I worthy of? What's holding me back? And again, it comes back down to childhood, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Whether what where were there some books or tools that helped you to cope through what you went through?
Um, I say the key thing for me was the Happy for No Reason training program that I took. Instead of blaming and complaining and shaming, which our society does, I looked on the positive side, and the people that maybe weren't very kind to me, I forgave them, because they are going through their own issues, and maybe they haven't realized it. And it's not up to me to point them out or to educate them. And so I just came from a loving space and going, like, forgive them for they know not what they do. And you just move on and, you appreciate the lesson you learned from it. And yeah, that's what really stuck in my mind more than anything. I don't want to have that negativity around me. I just want to live
Mm,
where I don't have any bad feelings against anybody. And, I just forgive no matter what it was, no matter how hard. Like, for example, the mother who unfortunately lost her daughter to a drunk driver that started mad,
mm,
she had to forgive that guy. And then you hear other stories where, horrific murders or rapes of children or whatever, and the
mm,
prisoner is being forgiven by the parent or, somebody significant. So, forgiveness is a state that frees you maybe more than the other person. I don't know. I
mm,
just feel I find it very freeing because I don't want to hold that negativity around me that, still have bad feelings against the person. I just forgive them, love them, and send them their way.
mm. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, you're right. I think when we forgive not only for ourselves, but for others and all the pain, because I think people who hurt people are also hurting.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt, without a doubt. Yeah, people that are not hurting, they're in a different frame of mind. But you feel you want to be vindictive because it's going to make you feel better. But to the contrary, it doesn't. It just makes you the prisoner.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. How can we learn to forgive?
Um, Good question. I'd say pray about it. There's different exercises you can do, what the person, make a list of what the person did, why it was wrong, why it hurt you, where that person may be coming from, and making the assumption that, it's something from their past or somebody else hurt them. Just forgive them and release them, because there's a really good saying: two prisoners of war have just been released, and they're walking on their way to freedom. And the one says to the other, "So did you forgive them?" And to which he replies, "No, never." He says, "Well, then he has you prisoner in your mind." So
Mm,
you don't want to have that negativity following you or in your mind or a trigger. Just let it go and move on. Life has its ups and downs, and be grateful that you learned a lesson and you learned how to forgive, and it makes you a better person.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing. And you mentioned that you were homeless. What were some lessons that you were taught through that situation?
Again, the living circumstances. Um, I would never um, put upon anybody else. So they had to be coming from a place of not liking themselves, because, like, hurtful people hurt other people. So, again, probably making the assumption something from past life, or I'm sorry, childhood experience. And then another circumstance, same thing I would say, trauma somewhere in your life, when your upbringing, or maybe a failed marriage or whatever. So it always comes down to, um, you know, I guess you could say, if the person put themselves into my shoes, how would you tolerate that? Would you put up with it? Would you let that person live in that kind of circumstance? So, but
Yeah.
people are people, and just it's a lesson learned. It certainly strengthened not just my resilience, but it strengthened me in character, and to be able to forgive and just accept, and just to move on, and definitely not to bear any grudges,
Mm,
because bearing grudges and being angry hurts you, not the other person.
mm. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Thank you for sharing. Do you have any books and programs that you're working on?
I'm working on a program on my book. It's called Moving Through Life Lessons from a Year Without a Home. Just, to give people some ideas on how to be more resilient and accepting and forgiving. And my big program is Resilience with Heart. It's a mentoring program for women who have been diagnosed with cancer. Not exclusively women, but I generally focus on women. And I approach it from a little different perspective, like daily habits to increase your resilience, to increase your self-worth, and just daily acts of kindness for others because it really influences you. And then, of course, different things you can do, in your lifestyle habits because healing is an inside job. It's always from the inside out. It encompasses mental, emotional, and physical. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm working on that. I'm really excited about it, and I've had really good reviews on it. So,
Yeah.
just Resilience with Heart mentoring program. So,
Yeah, I love that. I love that you mentioned healing is an inside job because oftentimes we look on the outside or external situations to find solution, comfort, or healing. How can we, especially as younger generation, how can we learn to go within?
that's a good question. I would probably listen to some of the well-respected spiritual teachers, whether it's Louise Hay or Wayne Dyer, or even the current ones, Braden,
Mm,
or what's the name of the other guy? I can't think of it. Just listen to people from times gone by, they can still be alive, on how they overcame their traumas, um, and learn to forgive, or even reading stories about Holocaust survivors. I mean, they all forgave. And, people that made an impact in other people's lives through their traumas, through their grief, through their handicaps, whether it's Anne Frank or, the guy that wrote Man's Search for Meaning, a Holocaust survivor. There's always something to be inspired about the traumas people have gone through, and even some of the celebrities. They all weren't in fame. As a child, a lot of them came from significant traumas. So read up on some of them and some of the ones that are so kind and giving, like Canoe Reeves. I mean, he's always giving out, helping the underprivileged and whatever, you resonate with, whether it's somebody that gives to animals or gives to homeless shelters or to women or whatever. There are people out there that will inspire you, and try to emulate, pick somebody that you really look up to, and emulate them. How can you be like them? What acts of kindness can you give or share to other people, even in your school? Maybe start a movement in your school on how to be kind in a community, and go out and do some public service work. Starting kids at a young age, it really changes their focus so they have something more productive to do in their off time instead of spending all their time on social media and texting. So there's all sorts of things we can do.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Thank you. Yeah, as you were sharing, Tyler Perry came to mind for me because
Weird.
yeah, his story is just incredible and what he has done and the way he has turned his pain into passion and purpose. It's
Hmm.
inspiring. So I love that you mentioned, to look at example celebrities and other people, what they've been through. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Do you also teach and speak? If so, how frequent do you do it?
Um, well, I teach, with my mentoring, I have a daily resilient boost, a short video every morning that I post on social media just to motivate people to do, random acts of kindness or joy, or how to really, like we're always ruminating about um, the past, or visualizing about the future. Well, just stop. Just focus on the present. It's a gift. The present is a gift, and focus what you can do now to make people a little happier, kinder, and do self-care for yourself. We need self hugs. the best hug is 30 seconds. Our hugs are 9 seconds. If you live by yourself, you don't have anybody to hug you. So I tell people, hug yourself in the morning, looking in the mirror, making eye contact, and saying your favorite affirmation. I'm healthy, whole, and complete. I'm a magnet for abundance, blessings, joy, and miracles, or whatever. But really look at yourself eye to eye. And then, at the end of the day, as hokey as for some people it sounds, write down three things that you're grateful for. And you'll always find something, things that we just take so much for granted, and, in the day, in the morning, like I walk my dogs early in the morning, and this morning the sun was just gold, this orange globe just coming up the surface on the horizon. And I thought, how beautiful. Number one, that I can see it.
Yeah.
Number two, that it exists. And there's just little things that we just so take for granted.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I think beauty surrounds us every single day, but we often miss the beauty of life, the beauty of nature. If anyone wants to witness a God or creator, I would say go in nature.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's right. It's absolutely incredible. The blades of grass, the bumblebees, the flowers blooming in the spring, the colorful leaves in the fall. It's just all orchestrated. And you know, um,
yeah,
our marine life, you hear these beautiful stories where, somebody untangled the snares in a whale, and the whale now follows that boat or something. So,
yeah,
what is that? It's something innate, some kind of connection, human to animal, but it's really connecting being to being. There's all sorts of beautiful things. And look at what grows in the ocean,
mm,
from the fish
yeah,
to the whales to the dolphins to whatever. And then what do you have? We've got chickens and roosters and pigs and goats and sheep. They're all part of the human evolution, and we're all supposed to live in harmony together.
yeah.
But there is a bit of a disjoint.
Oh, there is. There is. We're constantly fighting with each other, bringing each other down, not realizing that together we are one, together we can do better, and together we are
That's
stronger.
right.
That's what I always tell people. The minute we
Yeah.
divide, that is not the soul speaking, that is the heart or the ego taking over. Because on a soul level, there wouldn't be any division. We would be co-creating together and be one.
Yeah, I mean, Marianne Williamson's book, Return to Love.
Mm.
There's either love or fear. So, which category are you living?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big question for sure. That
Yeah.
is, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think often we focus on our pain, and I
Hmm.
love that you have flipped and reversed the pain and everything else you've experienced. You have turned it into something so beautiful. As you speak, it feels like I'm healing because there's such wisdom. You have an energy that just heals. I don't know if I'm expressing it properly. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it still feeds my soul, especially, random acts of kindness or joy uh, to people, walk down the street, smile at a stranger, offer a compliment, buy the barista a cup of coffee, take a person who has no car out to do their grocery shopping, invite the woman next door who lost a loved one out for lunch. There's all sorts of little random acts of kindness you can do. Like, for example, if somebody holds the door open for me, I'll always say, is your mother still alive? And most times, yes, their mother's still alive. And
Yeah.
I'll say, well, tell her she's done a good job. So they smile. And when they share the message with their mother, the mother's going to smile. So there's all sorts of little things you can do. My dogs get a lot of attention and people are petting them. And I'll say, if I get on all fours, will you pet me too? Nobody's taken me up on the challenge, but I would do it. I promise you, I would do it. So just putting a little smile on somebody's heart, because you don't know what they're going through. Maybe they went out because they want to go through in their mind what they're going to do about their
Yeah.
situation, and lo and behold, this crazy woman is sharing a joke. Like you just never know.
Yeah, 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 that's true. That's really true. Thank you for sharing. So you have two dogs?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what are their names and how have they helped you heal?
Well, they're my family.
Mm.
They're Wheaten Terriers, so they're an Irish breed. So I gave them Irish names, Dublin and Rory. And I just take them with me everywhere. I mean literally, they go with me everywhere unless I'm going to be an hour and it's you know 90 degrees out or it's minus 20. But they're just used to being with me everywhere and they don't need to be on a leash. They're trained that way.
Mhm.
And so we just go everywhere and if I tell them to stay, they stay. Like there's some groceries, some stores you can bring your pets in, like a hardware store or whatever, and I'll tell them to stay in the corner and I go about doing my shopping and I stay in the corner. For example, a couple of weeks ago, there was a big heat wave and I took my dogs with me and I thought, well, I can't leave them in the car. I don't want to, so I was going to leave them tied out in the store where they had all the shopping carts. And the lady that welcomes everybody says, no, I don't suggest you do that because they may get stolen. She says, we're making the exception now with this heat wave. She said, well, they stay in the shopping cart. So she went and got a piece of cardboard that fit in the shopping cart. And I put my two dogs in the shopping cart and I went about and did my shopping. And they got a lot of attention, but they stayed. So it was no problem you know
Yeah.
and again it makes people smile when they see, oh, two dogs in a grocery store. So
Yes.
anything just to bring a little joy to people's lives, like for example, I'm standing at a corner and I'll give my dogs a treat. They're sitting beside me and there's a 4-year-old little girl there with her mother and her eyes are as big as saucers and I'll say, do you want to give him a treat? And of course she's really excited. I put a treat in
Yeah.
her teeny tiny little hand and so she gives one to each of the dogs.
Yeah.
3 months later, I see this little girl. She still remembers.
Mm. Yeah.
Like you never know how you can impact somebody, and sometimes you never will, but that doesn't matter. It's just at the moment, it fed your soul, it fed their soul, and that's what life is all about. Just being kind and to people. Not everybody has the gift to share jokes, but I
Mm.
love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. For me, people just approach me because of my hair color and maybe my energy and sense of ease. People can be themselves around me. Anywhere I go, people are talking to me. And I love it. I love it. And it reminds me that of the connection and heart we all have to connect with each other.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there any projects that you're working on?
I'm working on expanding my mentoring program on how I could take it to, different institutions. Um, just, because everybody could use a little bit of resilience, just some resilient skills, especially in schools or like even, you know, um, well, that's where the speaking comes in, different organizations that are having their yearly meetings or corporations to practice a little bit more resilience in the workforce. Right now our institutions the B2B, they're not all about, getting the results done. People are looking more like at uh, intelligence, the intelligence spectrum. And there's different forms of intelligence, which really plays a big difference. So, the companies are looking that, our employees are not just an employee, they're really a human being. And we need to address the issues that everybody's going through.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing. Alexi, have you been thinking of writing a book maybe or books?
Yeah, well, I'm writing one right now. I'm in the midst of it about my year of being homeless. But then I thought I would share one on I'm an only child, and my parents have been deceased many, many years ago.
Mhm.
And just sort of have been looking over the traumas that have impacted my life and how it really all led to resilience. Like even, as a child, um, I just didn't have a very nurturing mother because she came from her own trauma. So everything was really negative. I had to be the perfect daughter, the perfect marks, the perfect manners, like just everything perfect. But I never got that support. And when one incident that really impacted me, it was resilience that bounced me back to carry on with things that happened to me, like in my teenage years or my 20s. So I thought I'd write a book about me, myself, and I. That was the title.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I
the
love that.
yeah, the joys or the perils of being an only child.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful, the title. I love it. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that we didn't talk about yet?
Um, I can't really think of anything. The big thing for me is just spread a little happiness every single day, in spite of what you're going through. Like um, or have some kind of thing that you really want to strive for? What do you really want to, yeah, what do you want to be remembered when you leave this earth plane? It's outside of the book or the TED Talk or, making the lots of money. What do you want to be remembered for? Like if you have grandchildren, what do they want to remember grandma for? Because I helped her make cookies and she likes making cookies now, or you took your daughter to learn or your daughter to learn how to ski, and now she's a ski, an equestrian or not equestrian, takes part in the Olympics. What do you want to be remembered for? What impact do you want to make on society, in your community, in your family? Because we all have some kind of gift that we can share, no matter how small. It's always something, and you don't have to be that big out there in the limelight person. You can be just your quiet little normal self, and yeah. So for me, it's just like for me when I get buried or I want to live
Mm.
Zoom burial service as opposed to going to a funeral home. And the cost of admission is you have to bring a joke. And I mean that sincerely. You have to bring a joke,
Yeah,
and then all the jokes are compiled and made into a book and then give it to some kind of charity. I haven't decided on that. But, like they say, celebration of life. Well, don't celebrate all the woe stuff. Celebrate all the good and crazy things that I did.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, 'cause I have no problem about that. I take these sticky notes and I put them in a parking lot on 30 different cars. You mean a lot. Smile today. Offer a hug. And so when people go to their car and they go, you can't help but smile because somebody left you a note.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
maybe childish, but I don't care. I enjoy it. And I know the receiver, though I'll never see them, will as well.
yeah, yeah. I think that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Um,
Alexis, as we wrap up, I have two questions for you. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
um, I guess living life to the capacity that you feel fulfilled, that you contributed, um, that you shared your gifts, that you inspired, um,
Mhm.
that you made an impact in somebody's life.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And do you have a website, email? How can people reach you if they want to talk to
The,
you?
the easiest way is through LinkedIn. So it's just, LinkedIn and my name. There's only one Alexi Bracey on LinkedIn. So that is
Yeah,
the easiest way.
yeah, yeah, I love
And
that.
yeah, I have a quote that I've made into a poster size that if anybody wants to contact me on LinkedIn, I'll gladly send it to them.
Okay, okay, awesome. Well, Alexi, I keep saying your name wrong.
Okay.
Alexi, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much for blessing me with your presence, with your story, with your energy and love. Please continue to do what you do. And I appreciate you being here today.
Well, it has been my pleasure. Enjoyed sharing too. And yeah, it's been a beautiful day. So may the rest of your day be filled with smiles on your face and joy in your heart.
Thank you so much. Thank you.